Getting you, your family, and your friends in and out of the house is not the only thing an exterior door is about. When you install a door, you want it to swing smoothly, latch tight, seal out the weather, and be secure. If you're replacing an exterior door, it's usually best and easiest to completely remove the old door and jamb and treat the opening like new construction. The rough opening should be 2 inches wider than the door, not including the jamb. Here's how it's done. Prepare the door opening by removing any shims or nails sticking out of the trimmer studs or framing and cut back any drywall that extends into the opening. Use a 6-foot level to check the hinge side of the trimmer stud for plumb. If the hinge side trimmer proves to be out of plumb, you need to note in which direction that is. Now, move the level away from the trimmer at one point until the bubble is centered, and note the size of the gap and see how far the framing is out of plumb. Grab the door by the brick mold and tip it back while maneuvering it into position. Line up the bottom of the opening first and then tip the door into place. With the door still closed, tap the bottom into place with your foot. It should move in until the back of the brick mold is against the sheeting. Now swing the door open so you can step inside. The combination of the brick mold and the open door will hold the assembly in place. While holding onto the top hinge, swing the door closed and look at the top reveal. That's the gap between the door and the header of the jamb. The gap between the door and the jamb header should be the same all the way across. Make sure the door is against the hinge side trimmer and note where there needs to be a gap between the jamb and the trimmer, or top and bottom, to get the top reveal correct. In this case, we are expecting the jamb to move away from the trimmer at the top because of the level reading we took earlier. Put a cedar shim between the jamb and the trimmer where needed. In this case, the door jamb needed to be shimmed at the top. Shims should be placed near the hinges to strengthen the backing near the hinge. While keeping pressure against the shim, swing the door open and nail through the jamb at the shim location. While pushing the brick mold against the sheeting, nail the jamb to the trimmer near the bottom hinge location. Now, swing the door closed and check out how the door is sealing against the weather strip on the strike side jamb. After checking that the door seals okay, you can fill the gaps between the hinge side jamb and the trimmer and add some more nails. Before moving on to secure the strike side of the jamb, it's a good idea to replace one of those top hinge screws with a 3-inch screw to help hold the weight of the door. Drill through the jamb with a 3/16-inch twist bit so the screw bites into the framing and not just the jamb. While pulling the jamb inward to keep the brick mold against the sheeting and the trimmer near the top, nail through the jamb at the shim locations. Now go outside and pull the door closed to check again how it's sealing against the weather strip. Adjust the bottom of the jamb in or out to improve the seal. Fill the gap between the jamb and the trimmer just above the threshold. Nail through the jamb at the shim locations. Close the door to check the gap between the door and the jamb at the door latch locations. Add enough shim to get the gap right. In other words, match the door to jamb spacing you see at the top and the bottom of the door. Nail the jamb to the trimmer at the latch shim location. Finally, nail the brick mold to the sheeting at several places around the exterior of the door to complete the installation. By the way, it's not uncommon for the drywall to stick out beyond the jamb at some point around the door opening. If it sticks out enough to interfere with the casing, use a hammer to beat the drywall back, but be careful not to damage the drywall outside the area that's going to be covered up by the casing. And be careful not to hit the exposed corner of the jamb. Installing a pre-hung door also makes lock set installation much easier. Make sure the lock set you install matches the door preparation. This will be determined by the back set, usually 2 3/8 inches, and the strike plate mortises in the jamb. Make the deadbolt more secure by anchoring the supplied security plate to the framing. The following hardware tips are designed to secure the deadbolt plate, to avoid splitting the jamb by pre-drilling, and to prevent scratches by using the right drill bits. First, put the security plate for the deadbolt in place with the offset center holes on the top side. This offset moves the screws in line with the framing and mark the holes. Pre-drill the holes through the jamb with a 1/4-inch drill bit, but do not penetrate the framing. This allows the screw to bite into the framing and not into the jamb. Fasten the security plate through the jamb and into the framing with the supplied screws. These oversized screws combined with the security plate gives the deadbolt added strength, making it more difficult for someone to kick in the door. Pre-drill the jamb with a 5/32-inch twist bit before installing the strike plates to keep the screws from splitting the jamb. Install the finish plate over the deadbolt security plate. Extend the deadbolt partially before installing the screws. which attach to the inside latch mechanism to the single-keyed cylinder on the outside of the door. Using a bit holder with a drive guide is a good way to keep from scratching the doorknob when installing the handset. Now you're good to go. In and out. Thanks for watching.